Welcome back to Super Doc Stories. I'm your host, Dr. Marissa Caudill, and I am joined today by Dr. Furhan Qureshi, founder of Noor Aesthetic Center. And we're really excited to hear your story, Dr. Qureshi, about how you went from being an internist to starting your own specialty practice. So let's dive in.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah, so you're based in Northern Virginia, you said. Whereabouts exactly?
So I personally live in the city of Ashburn. That's where the Washington Commanders,
Oh, nice.
main office is. So that's where these guys train. And so we're out there. But the practice is in the city of Sterling. We're about only like maybe 10 minutes away from Washington Dulles Airport. So very convenient if you guys want to fly on in and visit us. But yeah, we're in the Loudoun County region, Northern Virginia, and the suburbs.
Great. And you were telling me you're trained in internal medicine and you started this specialty practice in 2023. You said while you were deployed. So tell me how that idea got planted in your head and how you got started with all of this.
It's a wild, wild story. You know,
I bet.
when I was when I was young, I always wanted to actually. I, wa- I was obsessed with transformation. I was obsessed with the story of how someone was disfigured from an accident or
Mm,
something happened and they were transformed to something better. That's something that always fascinated me as a kid. That's what kind of led me towards medicine. You took someone who was very sick and on the verge of dying, and he's better. Um, I later thought maybe I want to go into surgery, maybe I want to be a plastic surgeon. But in med school, I suffered a pretty serious back injury.
oh,
I
sorry.
barely finished. Yeah, it's pretty serious. I barely finished my second semester of my second year, and
Mm,
then went on home on vacation, and it was really bad. I ended up having an L5S1 disc herniation, and I had a really
gosh.
bad sciatica. I was having trouble walking and standing for a long period of time, and this kind of lingered from my second year of med school into my third and fourth year. So I kind of realized, yeah, if I'm going to do surgery, this is not going to work. Because surgery, you have to be strong. You have to stand for several
For
hours at a time to
hours. Yeah.
do the work. Yeah. So when I was in surgery, when I was doing my surgery rotations, I realized, yeah, this is going to be really hard because I'm having, it was hurting to stand a very long period of time. Meantime, I started liking internal medicine a lot. It's like, wow, I mean, this is such a fascinating field. Like, there's so much to learn. I was constantly intellectually, stimulated by it. This was something I realized I don't have to stand for or sit for. I don't have to even physically do anything, and I can do this job really well. It took a lot of mental work, but as time went on, and you got to learn, you got to learn these various topics. A foundation was built, and it became easier, just like riding a bike. And it was a very versatile field. I could do anything and know anything and learn anything. There was no limitation. So I gradually went into that field. Um, Finished it up, did my residency in it. I started off strictly just doing hospitalist work. Did that for several years. While also I took my oath and commissioned in the armed forces right at the conclusion of med school. And when I finished my residency, I began, doing my drilling with my civilian work. And during this period, it's like 2015, 2014. At this point, I start learning about the concept of a med spa. These are non-surgical practices that can essentially do aesthetics, which I always liked. I mean, I always liked this stuff. I remember even when I
Mm-hmm.
was in college, I personally used to get facials and get manicures and pedicures. I always like was obsessive about grooming habits and all that. All my male friends teased me, but that's how I always was. I thought it was important to try to look your best and try to be your best in every way. So I decided I'm going to open one of these up. I was initially planning to do this around 2019 or 2020, but then COVID happened, and
Yeah.
that was awful, and there was a crisis. I was like, you know what? The hospital needs me. I'm gonna delay this and focus on COVID. So I did frontline work. I did frontline work in the ER, frontline work, on the medical floor, ER, everywhere.
Wow.
I was needed, and those were tough times, but I did it. And then after that was done, then there was the post-COVID kind of burnout. A lot of docs were burned out. It's like, okay, now it's time to open Now it's like what, 2022. Like, okay, now it's time to open the practice. I started planning for it, and then boom, I found out that I've been selected from my unit to go on this joint operation. I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
really? A
What
deployment?
timing.
So that's just great. So we were initially being geared up to go to Ecuador, but something weird happened. Literally less than 4 weeks ago, we've had our intelligence briefings. We're all geared up. Passports are in, visas are ready. We're ready to go to Ecuador for this joint exercise with the Ecuadorian armed forces. All of a sudden, our commander says, "Guys, you go to Peru." No, sir. You mean Ecuador? No, no, no. We're going to Peru. I'm like, Peru. Excuse me. We've had 5 months of briefings and prep for Ecuador. I was learning about the different restaurants in the city of Manta where we're going to be. Now we're suddenly going to Peru. Where are we going to Peru? Lima. Well, Lima sounds nice, but we only have 4 weeks left. Why did you guys change your mind? We can't get into that. We just can't get into that. There's some intelligence concerns. You guys are all going to Lima now. So with less than 4 weeks, we had to get emergency, like last minute visas stamped, and
Wow.
literally, I got my passport back just 24 hours before our trip, and then we all went via civilian flight, landed in Lima, and OSI had advised us to not go to Ecuador and stick to Lima, and they were right. Around that time we got to Lima, that politician, I'm sure you saw in the news, he was publicly assassinated in Ecuador. That
Mm.
happened at the same time we were in Peru. It's like, oh man, so that country's getting unstable. OSI was right. So, so we ended up, in Lima. We had a great time, and while I was there, I called my consultant, like, drafted all the business plans and worked with the banks and everything, and did all the groundwork to start the practice while I was deployed. Because I knew that as soon as we come back from this flight, I'm gonna go the next morning, get the keys to this place, move the equipment, and get going. And that's exactly what happened. I came back.
Wait. So, but let's go back. So, had you already picked the place that you were going to sign the lease and have the med spa in before you left?
I did. I researched
Oh,
that
okay.
before, but I didn't, grab the key. I'm like, I'm being deployed, but I'm gonna
Right,
come
right.
here. And she was the landlord was very nice. She's like, yeah, you can just give me a little deposit and
So you really
go
had
go
made
to have
the
fun.
decision, you were in, you were doing this, and then the
Yeah,
deployment kind of got delayed things a bit, maybe.
exactly.
Okay.
So I did as much as I could, while I was on deployment. So basically, in the mornings we'd be on base, just taking pictures, doing our joint exercise stuff, and kind of doing our briefings. And then in the evenings we were usually free. You know, I would do the most I could after an evening. We would come back from base, whatever my consultants needed, drafts, whatever, writing, signatures. I'd have dinner with my unit, and then do whatever I could, and then sleep. Wake up 5 in the morning, do it again, and that was how we got started while I was overseas and out of the country.
What an interesting start to your story. But like, how about for you? So you always had this desire to do kind of aesthetic work. And then the seed was planted, you said 2015. You didn't get started on it till almost a decade later, but clearly it
Yeah,
was you were working on it subconsciously and
yeah.
consciously, probably at different times. And then what was that transition like for you? I mean, were you mostly excited? Do you remember? Was it scary? Like, did you keep your foot in some kind of locums work or part time work at the hospitals while you started this, or did you just
Yeah,
go all
yeah, yeah. That's a good question. So initially, I did go all in, and then I realized, oh, there's no patients. You have to
in?
find them. Very
Yep.
different from an ER. ER, you can't hide from them. They
You can't
always
keep them
show up in the
away.
hospital. You
Exactly.
can't stop them. I mean, they're gonna show up. This is the opposite. This is private sector. This is cash pay. Um, this is now this is consumerism now. This is
Yep.
capitalism. This is no longer clinical medicine. So I got a reality shock very early on. I'm like, oh man, I think I need the hospital again. So yes, I began to pick up the hospital shifts, do my telehealth work at the same time to keep extra income going to support the business. It took a while. It took several different marketers. The hardest part was the marketing. I personally had no experience in it, and marketing itself is constantly evolving, especially digital marketing. It's never the same.
Hmm.
What worked for one guy, 5 years ago is totally dead now. And
Yes.
that's one thing I learned.
So that's actually this is my jam, right? Because this is actually what our business does is it helps physicians to think about hopefully ahead of time, but you like us got into it and then you were like, "Oh wait, where am I going to find the patients? Like you can keep yourself so busy with all the planning of like getting the doors open, what you're going to do, which EMR you're going to use, who's going to help you with this, right? All the decisions, probably even more of them when you're running a med spa because you've got things like, I don't know, lasers and all those things that you could buy and be busy with. And see the dollar signs, right? Because you can think what you're going to charge for these procedures and how quickly they're going to pay themselves off. But the reality is, we are not trained as physicians to run a business and to market a business.
No,
So
I would
what
definitely
did
not
you do?
train in
You
social
hired
media either.
marketing companies or how did you
Oh
find
God.
patients?
Yeah, yeah. So you hire marketing companies and you go through them like excessively. Like oh my God, I forgot how many marketing companies I've hired and fired. They're just, I don't want to speak ill of them, but it's just, I feel like as a consumer, a lot of these guys' their goal is to treat you like a recurring revenue source for
Mm-hmm.
them. And
Absolutely. Well, we actually talk a lot about this that most marketing companies, they base their fee, there's usually some base fee, and then it's a percentage of your ad spend wherever you're marketing, right? On Facebook, on Google Ads, or whatever. And then they come back to you and they're like, oh, look, the campaigns are working. You got this many clicks or this much click through rate, conversion rate. But that doesn't equal patience
yeah,
and money in your
yeah, yeah.
pocket.
No, no. So,
And
so,
then they're
so
like,
you're
oh, but we
right.
need to spend more money. You need to spend more money to get the patients. And so you
E-
can just kind of feel like you're in this black hole.
exactly. Exactly. So my favorite, my favorite market burns are. Oh yeah, it's only been 1 month. You gotta give it more time. 1 month, is that not enough time? No, no. We need 1 month. Then 2 months go by. Yeah, it's not as successful as I hope, but your click through rate's amazing, or your follower count has gone up. They use vanity metrics.
Yes. Yeah.
You had 10,000 more clicks than last time. Well, this time we give you 3x the leads you had last time, and they kind of make you feel bad. Like, I gave you 400 leads. Last time you only had, 50. Why didn't you convert them? It's like, oh, so it's my fault they're not coming in
Mm-hmm.
now. And I don't know, maybe there's truth to that, or maybe they're just playing games. Some of the games, eventually, as I've been in dealing with digital advertising for the past few years, I learned there were games that these guys would play. Like, for example, broadening a search beyond your radius just to bring in leads. What good is it if some guy in Cincinnati wants to go to your practice, but you're located in Florida?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a moral victory. Somebody wants to see you, but he's in Cincinnati and you're in Florida. It's not going to work. So, it's so sad. So sad. I mean, I still haven't completely solved this. Um, Essentially, what's going on now, not the latest pushes in AI. So I'm going headfirst into it really fast. Um, Human marketers have a common corruption, which is money. Um, if they can keep tricking you and hustling you into paying them, they're going to keep generating fake kind of, or not fake leads. The leads are real, but they're just poorly targeted, or they're low quality, or you never know. They might even try uploading cold leads that you don't even know about and
Mm.
play games like that. So there's a lot of shenanigans that happens that we don't even know about. Um, and Yeah, these are some of the things that I've seen. Now, as far as AI goes, I'm kind of slowly getting into AI based kind of advertising. You have the rise of a super agent. Now, what's nice about the agent is he doesn't have the corruption a human has. He's trying to do the best he's programmed to do, and money doesn't influence whether he does it or not. He's doing his job. This AI agent. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the problem is, what is AI? AI is just something that believes in the truth that's already written on the internet. They're becoming increasingly more advanced and more capable in what they're able to do, but some of the AI generated ads are so bad. I mean, they're kind of
Mm-hmm.
not good, they're really bad.
Very bland
But
and generic. Mm-hmm.
exactly, generic, kind of old clickbait style, like kind of low and unbecoming of what the better ads that a human could have produced is. Um, so in theory, when you do your, your marketing, you should have this thing called a funnel. It should be so strong that every aspect of it, from the ad to the educational material your practice generates, is so convincing because ultimately what's going to make your practice is going to be how convincing you are to the consumer. Are you someone who knows what they're talking about? And you'd be surprised. Your credentials don't really matter as much as you think they do. There are guys sitting there
Right.
who are double board certified. They've been practicing for 15 years. They've had, you know, tremendous positive feedback from their colleagues and patients, but they're struggling in this department. You know who's doing better than us, Dr. Cotto? Those health coaches.
Yes,
They're
yes.
really good.
Why? Because they understand that people make decisions based on emotion, not based on logic. And so, if you can position yourself as the person who has the solution to their problem in a way that is compelling to them, that's what makes them take action. And I think for many of us who are physicians, who do really value all of the training that we've had that made us really good at what we do, we don't want to sell out, and it feels like selling out to kind of talk about what we do in that way, but it's not. If you can realize that it's not selling out, it's really understanding like what is it that would make my ideal patient decide to work with me. And when you start thinking about it in that way, your personal story actually becomes more important than the generic stuff that AI can generate for you. Like your story, right? That you've always been interested in aesthetics and things like that. Like I think I would want to know that as a patient. But tell me, like, what
Uh,
has been successful for you? What's You've been in business now for 3 years. You're still at it, so something must be working. What's
yeah,
helping?
I think what's helping is I'm becoming more engaged in the marketing process.
Exactly. You're part
Um,
of it now.
Now I am correct. So my mistake early on was I was camera shy, and I didn't want to be like, me. Look at me. I wasn't trying to be a star. I mean, I wasn't trying to be like, this camera hog. I was very shy, and I, I kind of thought that like it was kind of egotistical to be one
Yeah.
of those doctors like, oh yeah, I'm so smart. Look what I think. But my thinking evolved on this. Like what ended up happening was a lot of patients ended up not trusting us. We struggled a lot because they're like, oh, they have a doctor? Who is he? I've never heard of him. Which is true. You never heard of me. I'm not Dr. Sanjay Gupta on CNN. I'm not some famous
Mm-hmm.
guy like him or those kind of guys, So obviously they haven't heard me, which is fair. And however, who have they heard? And a lot of these injectors who are in aesthetics, they're crushing it. They're millionaires. They have tremendous social media because they were younger. They're social butterflies. Instagram happened. I guess when did Instagram happen? Instagram happened when I was like, what time? When was it? I was finishing medical school. I was starting residency, but Instagram happened. So it was long after my time. Back in the day when I was into this stuff, there was just Facebook, and you used to poke all the girls you wanted to date. Of course, that didn't mean anything.
That's
That
how my
was
husband and I met, actually,
there you
poking.
go. See, and that was a much more innocent time. Now we're in this world of like, social media, you know, oh, he's using this filter. That means he's this kind of personality. Like you can tell a personality by a filter. How do you know this stuff? It's way beyond my head. I didn't realize how powerful. Now I understand why Meta is a multi-billion-dollar business. This was genius what they did. They took Facebook for whatever it was worth to get data out of people. Then they made this thing called Instagram, which elevated, the ability of people to sell their personal brands, their small businesses, and scale up. Scaling become a word because of those guys. So influencing became a business. So um, I just it was after my time. So a lot of these injectors are younger and they tend to be more female. They're very social and they're very good at it. They're very relatable. I mean, I think part of my problem was how many times could I make a video about Botox? Like it's just okay, it paralyzes the muscle and you look young, but these people are generating video after video. How many units do you need to achieve the perfect, XYZ smile or the perfect Nefertiti lift? And I'm just like, a what now? And I'm watching these things. None of this stuff is in textbooks, of course. This is their own proprietary knowledge.
Right.
But the point is, they spoke with such confidence. and enthusiasm. You just wanted to go and spend $600 and have it too. This is very different from us. We weren't trained that way. We weren't trained to like sell. I mean, you're a child psychiatrist. You weren't trained to sell like a soap note, or like these kind of things. We weren't trained to sell anything. We were just trained to listen, try to diagnose a problem, and offer a plan. But without like a smile or any actual media training.
But you were saying I'm a child psychiatrist and I wasn't trained to
Yeah,
record a soap note, sell a soap note. Yeah, exactly. It's
yeah.
different for psychiatry.
Exactly, it's different. I mean, exactly. You can't. I can't imagine you as a psychiatrist going on Instagram saying, "Have
No.
you ever tried to take your own life?
No.
Have you tried to take the life of your loved one?"
With mental health, actually, I think I'm thankful that it's not something that I can show on Instagram, right? I mean, I can talk about in
Yeah,
general, and I work with parents more, so that makes it easier now. But you're right; you are up
yeah.
against a lot of competition from the pretty
Health coaches,
faces who can
man.
make it
Oh
seem
my God.
and with Botox and those kinds of things too, it's such a race to the bottom in terms of pricing. I'll be honest with you. Like I shop around and
It
I just go
is
to the clinic that has the best deal. So I think as a business
correct.
owner, you have to start thinking about how can you get repeat customers? How can you reward them for being your repeat customer? Um,
Exactly.
so are you
And
making Instagram videos or have you decided another way is better for you to market yourself and
that's
get
a
your
great
clients?
question. My latest approach is to go more towards long form content.
Nice.
Um, I'll tell you why. Short form content gets you immediate attention, right?
Hmm.
Like, hey, look at me. Here, look, I'm dancing. Well, I
Yeah.
don't do any dancing videos, but some of my colleagues do. I don't. Um, you know, hey, look, I'm right here. That's what TikTok and Instagram kind of do. There's some docs who are very good at it. Dr. Miami is a legend. I mean, I don't know how great he is as a doctor. I've heard some, things about him, but he's fully booked out and he's doing very well. He makes tremendous content. Dr. Wu in California, he's very funny. I enjoy just watching. He's such a funny guy, and he's a surgeon. I mean, these are very funny, smart, charismatic people who, even though this was after their time, they figured it out. Um, right now, I'm kind of I don't want to debase myself into being like a clown for the sake. I mean, I think that might hurt
You don't need
the
to.
viewer's impression.
You don't need
Yeah, I
to.
mean, I'm not going to juggle or do a moonwalk, on a video.
I think that's a really
Um,
good point, Dr. Qureshi, which is that like we have to stay authentic to ourselves
yeah,
because if you are not someone who is there are I'm sure there are doctors who are dancing and it is authentic to them because that's kind of the fun
who
extroverted
they are.
personality
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
are. But if someone is not that and they try to be, it will be very obvious, right? Like you also kind of can't fake it on social media. I mean, you can, but you have to be
yeah.
comfortable with what you're doing. Otherwise, it's a
E-
video that no one wants to watch. So
exactly.
I
So,
think if what you're comfortable with is long form video, really educating people, showing that you are someone who's really knowledgeable, that's really valuable, right? Because people who may have
yeah.
had a bad experience with an injector who is less experienced or less knowledgeable will value that and will be willing to pay you more or to come see you
Well,
consistently
let
because they
me
know they're
let
going to
me
have a good
let me ask you
experience.
this question as a consumer. I mean, you can see anybody you want to see. I mean, if you were to see like a non-physician injector, my question is, regardless of experience, are they able to recognize a complication from something and address it as quickly as a physician can? I don't know the answer to that. In some cases yes, in some cases no. But what's happening is the lines are blurred really
Mm-hmm.
hard. I mean, for the sake of money, the lines are blurred. I watched a plastic surgeon's video, Dr. Mountcastle. He made a very interesting video. He's like, what's going on in the world? He mentioned how he read about a urologist doing breast implants. Now, I'm sure the urologist is a surgeon. What business does he have doing breast implants? Then he was upset and he mentioned how there was a family medicine doctor doing liposuction. But yeah, so I mean that's kind of what's going on right now. Is I think the hardest thing is if you're going to do content, the question becomes, well, what should you talk about? My latest approach, I'm kind of doing in two forms, right? On the one hand, there's some longer topic I wanted, we're planning for, but then I want to have like I'm treating it like the military, right? There's a planned operation that I want to do. This is something that will be long form. There'll be a professional videographer coming. This will be a professional, operation. But then I want to have a rapid response team. If I see or hear something that really grinds my gears, I want to make rapid. I literally want to take my phone, hide, in the closet somewhere, tell you what I think about it, and then send that raw footage to my marketer and have them edit it and then push it up the next morning because I think it needs to be said. There is, thanks to the rise of these health coaches, there is so much misinformation going around that's getting popular. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm sure, I don't know if you've seen, if you follow a lot of these wellness practices, you probably see some of these videos. I saw Joe Rogan, who I'm obsessed with. I think Joe Rogan's the greatest podcaster of all time and greatest dude. He apparently is promoting some clinic in Texas, who, by the way, is not owned by a physician. And Joe Rogan showed these little orange bags that look like orange juice. I'm like, oh my God, don't tell me Joe Rogan did what I think he did. Joe Rogan did plasmapheresis. Why? Because according to the website of that wellness clinic, plasmapheresis is like an oil change for your body. You take out the bad things and leave the good things. Now, you and I know that is complete hogwash and not true. I have done plasmapheresis for people with ITP, Guillain-Barré syndrome. I don't think they felt energetic when it was done. In one of these videos, I saw a guy claiming his workouts got better because his free T went up because he argued by getting plasmapheresis, my bound testosterone went down, but my free testosterone went up. So my sex is better and my exercise is better. Funny. I've treated countless people with ITP with plasmapheresis and all these all these autoimmune conditions with plasmapheresis. Not a single one of them got done and said, "Oh man, I feel like going for a workout," or "I gotta have sex." Not a single one of them did that. This is just not true. But you know what the problem is? If a doctor made that claim, he'd be finished, right? Because the medical board would find out and would discipline him. There's no discipline for a health coach.
Yeah, I think the lines are definitely getting blurred. You're right. And when we do cross into cash pay healthcare, ultimately the consumer has the right to do any treatment that they want. So if I want to go get extra B12 shots, even though I'm not deficient, I can do that.
But
If I want to go get plasmapheresed, I can do that. If I want to go get
Joe
stem
Rogan
cell
did it
therapies, I
for
can
no
go to other
reason.
countries and do that. There's so many things now that are not necessarily evidence-based or medically indicated, but in the interest of longevity and health and biohacking and all these things, people are pursuing them. So you're right. I think you're bringing up so many interesting topics, which is, like how do we maintain our integrity as physicians about what we're really passionate about and we want to do well when there are so many other people pushing the envelope in a way that might feel not just like a money grab, but also like something that might hurt people, right? Like there's some things that are just maybe ill-advised, and then there are some things that really in the wrong hands could be very detrimental. Yeah, so valid points, all of them. But I think what you're talking about ultimately, the silver lining here is that although we were discussing from a marketing point of view, your credentials don't really matter in terms of that buying decision in that moment. They don't matter. But they do nonetheless matter in the long run when it comes to people believing in the treatment that they're getting and understanding that you really know how the human body works and why this can really help them because you are a physician. Like that is something that we can't undervalue when we're talking about ourselves and selling
Correct.
ourselves.
Correct. And so now the question becomes, okay, physician, you can't stay quiet for long. He or she, you have to go out there now and talk. It's here's the microphone. You have to now
Mm-hmm.
go up there, go on the podium, say your thoughts and why we should trust you. Because Steve, the 25-year-old health coach with six pack, he says plasmapheresis changed his life, and look how great he looks. I believe him. What about you? Why should I trust you? And that's where you get to really kind of think about this question deeply. does it matter that you have a medical degree? Does it matter that you did a fellowship in this place and a residency somewhere else and you publish a scientific paper? Does that matter at that moment when Steve, the guy with six pack and beautiful smile and great teeth, very handsome, marketable, and charismatic, marketing pro, is convincing someone to get plasmapheresis for no reason? How do you compete with that? This is where I feel like physicians will have to. I think we're gonna have to get our hands dirty. We're gonna have to put on put on our boxing gloves and go up there and call out these guys, like take them on, like stop shying away, stop trying to be mature and, oh, I'm not gonna debate a non-physician. No, you should debate a non-physician. You should go up there and debunk them. You should absolutely, maybe don't do it by name. Don't be confrontational. I'm not advising, like a Kanye style, Kanye West type of feud here, but no, take them on. Like, I'm going to do content soon about this exact reason, plasma freezing. This was so frustrating. Another, I'm going to make a video about it. PDGF is another good one. This one, this is a company that Area Essence that made this product that, you're supposed to apply topically, post procedure to improve recovery. A lot of people began injecting it, and I'm not going to say too much about them, but there became this fight between mostly the physicians versus mostly the injectors. Oh yeah, it's safe to use as an injection. It's effective. It's just like PRF. What's the difference? Well, the difference is PRS is autologous. That's yours. I'm not putting a pharmaceuticals product into you. You're using your own stuff. That's fair game. The FDA is actually okay with that. The other guy is, he never studied or proved through an FDA, through an FDA application that this is safe and effective to use. He just labeled it as a topical cosmetic just to get it, approved and pushed out. But there are people, implicitly implying, yeah, you can inject it, it's safe with no studies. And some people did get hurt. Some people have got. I don't know if I don't know if it's proven that they got hurt because of that. I'm not involved in those cases, but this was kind of a thing. Like, people were promoting it like it's safe and effective and better. I remember I had one of their reps in my office. She's like, "Oh yeah, our product is way better than PRF." I'm like, "Says who? You?" She got shocked I said that. Like, not trying to be rude, but why do you say it's better? What makes you say that? Oh, we've just seen much better results. I'm like, yeah, but you've seen how many? 5,000? Can you quantify that? Was it based on a double-blind study? How many people? Who are your variables? Where did you conduct a study? You did no study, so you're just anecdotally saying that. So I should believe you. And then I realized, oh my God, aesthetics. This is what it is. It is the least scientific
Mm. So
field
you're
there
facing
is.
this, you were pulled into it because you like the result and it is very
There is a
satisfying. I get it. Like, I get aesthetic procedures myself because it is so satisfying. Unlike therapy, where like you can be in therapy for years and maybe you get better, maybe you don't.
yeah,
If I go to get my
yeah.
Botox injector, like the next week, my forehead doesn't move as much. So it's a very satisfying, sure thing. But what you're saying is because of that, you're also heading into this world of unregulated statements. You're reminding me when I was in med
Pseudoscience,
school. Yeah, exactly.
ego,
I had a
pseudoscience.
friend and we were both in the MD PhD program at the University of Connecticut. We're supposed to be all scientific. And she bought this shampoo that said it would make your hair like 7 times stronger. And I was joking with her. I'm like, come on, like, is it really? I'm like, pull out a hair. So we pulled out hairs from our heads and mine was stronger than hers. And I'm like, well, maybe yours was just really weak
You
to
you
begin with,
should have
even though it's
sold.
7 times
See,
stronger.
you should have sold your own shampoo, and you would have made it.
But the point is your point, right? Like this EG, whatever, DG, what it is,
PDGF, plant derived
EGPF.
growth factor.
Okay, epidermal derived growth. Is that what it is? Okay. So the rep from that can basically say, yeah, it's 7 times better. And you're saying, is it really though? Or is it just like Fructis shampoo that used to say it was 7 times better and no one regulates that because it's not a drug? So that's
Correct.
kind of the same
It's not a
thing,
drug.
right?
It's a topical
It's
cosmetic
a
product.
topical cosmetic thing. So they can say
Yeah,
whatever they want. And this is something that's
they can.
actually something you understand as a physician that the general public doesn't. And I think you're right that the value in us as physicians speaking up and
You
maybe
you
not
know
calling
you know
out
what's
people by name and pulling them down, but just letting people know, be careful. Like when you're going to the med spa and they're selling you something and promising you things, just be aware that like a lot of this
correct.
is unregulated and
You
they can say whatever they
you
want. It's
know
like
you
vitamins.
know what's more scary. You know what's more scary. This is aesthetic. The world of aesthetic is completely unregulated. It's very. There's a lot of kickbacks in it. So you know how they're gonna sell you, right? They're gonna come up to you with a laser or a machine or a treatment or a solution or a shampoo or a lotion, whatever it's gonna be. They're gonna try to sell you, and you're pretty smart. You're not gonna buy it right away. Our XYZ product is the best. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, says salesman number 12. Why do you say that? Well, we saw in our own research it grew 500 times more of this than that. Wow, do you have a formal study? You read a paper, you read the paper, it's like they did a trial on 10 people, which is underpowered and not real. So how do they sell you? Here's how they're going to sell you. Well, you don't have to talk to me about it. Here's a list of other doctors who are trying to practice and will tell you about it. Dr. A, Dr. B, Dr. C, Dr. D. They give you a list.
Hmm.
And some of those the names are pretty prominent. They're very famous, actually. Like, oh my God, he said that? That guy did work with, I don't know, Kim Kardashian. That's a really big doctor. He provided. Absolutely. He loves our product. What you don't know about the situation is those guys are probably getting kickbacks
Yeah.
for promoting it. And I know because it happened to me. Um, one lady, owns her med spa. She was supposed to be this reference that this one salesman used to sell me this device for facial contouring, whatever. It looked really good on paper, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I've had it. It's a synergistic effect between RF and IPL. The studies are really really fantastic." I believed her, agreed to the device. It came, didn't do squat. She never sent me the paper either. And then I realized, well, then why did she promote it so hard? I found out later myself, a few weeks later, the same company was trying to get me to help them sell a body contouring device to another physician. They're like, yeah, if he gets it because you talk to him, I'll give you 10%. And I realized,
Yeah, that's what they did to
hold
you.
on a second. This is
Wow.
a kickback. Even though it's not Medicare, it's still a kickback.
Well, I think
Okay.
this is the thing, right? This is where it gets. No, well, I mean, it's inevitable that that kind of thing will happen in capitalist businesses, but it doesn't mean that it can't still be done well. And you mentioned like wanting to go in the direction of not just lifestyle, but longevity medicine, right, for your clinic in the future. And I think
Yeah.
that that is there's really something there in terms of having people's interest in their health not just be illness care, which is what healthcare has been really for the
Correct. That's what
last
they market it
100
up as.
years. Healthcare has been illness care. And now, thankfully, and I think it's a good sign, we're pivoting towards healthcare, like really being interested in how do we live our healthiest, best lives for as long as possible. That's all a good thing. Insurance isn't going to pay for it, it's going to be cash based. And so, inevitably, when it is cash based, it's kind of a cash
And these are
grab.
people who are pretty educated.
Yeah.
Like these are people who tend to be educated,
But
who
we're
are
just
actually
as
serious.
susceptible.
Yeah, well, true. But you're right. We are successful because again, Steve, the health coach, he's involved in this field too now. He's promoting peptides now that are the rage, and the peptides he's promoting are actually not supposed to be used in humans and are on the FDA's list of research only, do not compound list, and he's selling them anyway. And there are unwitting doctors who are getting kickbacks for agreeing to sign the order to get it to them. Well, the doctor has no idea that what these salesmen are doing now is they're selling these compounds to people illegal. They're selling them like a supplement when it's not a supplement. Supplements, these are not supplements. These are unauthorized, banned, substances that the FDA does not want people to consume. They're consuming it because the doctor ordered it. It was supposed to be for research only. Maybe you do it on mice or in a lab. They're doing it on people. And what's happening is the doctor has no idea, but when these guys get sick, right? If they do and they sue the salesman will say, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! I'm not a doctor. I'm just a salesperson." Doctor Jones. This guy, Doctor Jones. He's the one who wrote it. Go after him. Well, then
Yeah.
fine, you'll sue him. But Doctor Jones say, "Well, I never met you. I didn't give it. I ordered for you. I ordered for this guy." Yeah, but he gave it to me, and now that guy's suddenly liable because what were you doing ordering the stuff when you knew it was going to be sold as a supplement? So there's a lot of liability coming in this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. Do I think a lot of these peptides are inherently dangerous? I don't think so. I think it's just like any other thing, right? Maybe I love shrimp, but you're allergic to shrimp and you have a bad reaction. The difference is you're not going to sue shrimp. It's just it is what it is. You accept it. I'm allergic to shrimp. However, if this guy's allergic to some one of these random
Right.
peptides, like something pop like BPC 157, he's not going to accept that he's just allergic to it or can't tolerate it. He's going to sue whoever wrote it for him,
Right. Right.
and it's gonna be a slippery slope. So I mean, I think the physicians, we need to fight back. We need to stop being so nice and holy poly. We need to get on social media. We need to make our content. We have to fight back. And don't be afraid. Like, especially if you're taking on a health coach. Um, they're not doctors. They're not doctors, man. You can take them. This is a fight you can win.
All right, so don't be afraid to get on social media. Don't be afraid to speak medical truth and warn people. In fact, I would argue it's our duty to do that now, as there is more
True.
health misinformation out there.
Agreed.
If we sit
Agreed.
silently, we're kind of complicit in it, like we're letting
Correct.
it happen. So I think it's
You're letting it
actually our
happen.
job, if that's your area of medicine and someone's saying something that's not true or could be even dangerous for patients, it's your
Correct.
duty to make a post about it and
You have to
let
respond.
people
You have to
know.
respond.
Even if you don't
And
have
don't
any
be
way to be benefiting from it, like just to put the information out there. And I think
correct.
the other thing
Correct.
that I like that you said today, which is like, it doesn't have to be a TikTok reel. It doesn't have to be a short. Like, it could be a podcast without your face. It could be
Absolutely.
a long form YouTube video, right? Like, any way that you can put the information out there. We do live in an information age now where there's no excuses. Like, with your phone, you can do anything. So you don't need to have tons of technology or tons of experience.
Correct.
But let's leave things on like a positive note for you in your med spa journey. Like, what have you learned that has made you now excited heading into 2026 quarter two? And what do you think is going to be ahead for you in the next 12 months?
Good. Well, I've learned a lot about. I've obviously learned a lot about peptides now because this is all the rage. I just study this stuff, learn all that. I mean, what makes me excited is technology in general. Like, technology has come so far. I mean, people are now able to track their glucose levels better. There's a lot more availability, and they've gotten cheaper now to buy like these those
Dexcom,
glucose
Stelo, all the
Dexcoms,
things. Yep.
Stellos, all those little glucose monitors. So that's exciting. Um, AI is exciting. I'm obsessed with AI. I'm not
Me
gonna
too.
lie. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I I just got I saw like you're not going to believe this, but I went to a level 1 busy hospital, out in Montana. I had between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I saw 15 people, all pretty sick because this is
Wow.
level 1. By 10 a.m., I was done seeing them, and by 11, I'd finished all my notes thanks to AI.
Wow. That's amazing.
It heard my interactions. I made a few mods, and boom, all these guys. I mean, otherwise, back before we did things in the old days, like 4 or 5 years ago, this was a solid day. I'd be there till 8, 7, 8, 9 p.m. at night, still working on my notes.
Right.
Nope. So everybody took care of them. The system, so AI is helping a lot. AI can help with marketing if you know what you're doing. The truth is, you're not going to know what you're doing. You're going to have to suffer a little bit. You're going to have to go through agencies, try to learn as much as you can, and suffer. But I'm excited for what the future holds. I mean, believe it or not, there are AI that help you build apps now. You can actually build an app now without any coding experience.
Yes,
So I'm
that's
learning
true.
so much more excited. I'm so excited about the development of our technology, our efficiency that's being boosted. I mean, there's going to come a time where I'll have to run on 30, 35, 40 patients, and I'm not going to be mad. I'm like, well, do you guys have this version of AI? Great. I'll be done in like 4 hours. And you will.
Yeah.
So we're in a very exciting future, and we have to look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today, Dr. Qureshi. So, if anyone wants to find you, hear about your journey, where would they go to contact you?
They can go on glowwithnoor.com, GLOW, and then WITH and NOOR.com. They can also
Awesome.
see us on our social media at Noor Aesthetic WC, NOORESTHETIQUEWC. And then, of course, my own personal Instagram is at Furhan Qureshi MD. And yeah, find us in one of those places.
Perfect. And I will put all of those in our show notes. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It was lovely. Nice to see you.